Hey, good morning everybody. So I just made a run with my 2020 Ram out to Washington State this last week and pulling a pretty light load, and I noticed it seems to be running just a little bit warmer than it has in the last couple of summers. So did some checking, talked to mechanics. Everything seems to be working. The clutch fan's working, thermostat's good. We actually just did a coolant change on this truck. I had the dealer flush the system. They hook it up to a machine for like 30-45 minutes, bring it up to temperature, run a cleaner through it, and then put my brand new coolant in it. And we went back with the OEM coolant. So even after that, it was still just taking a little bit longer to cool back down. Again, not overheating, just running a little warm and a little slow to cool down. So one thing I'm going to do today is we're going to clean this radiator out. We're going to open that up and try to use a degreaser and spray it out. Truck's over 140,000 now, so one other thing I thought I would do would be to go ahead and change out the belt on it. That's the original belt. Hang with me, guys. Let's see how this goes. So some of the stuff I'm going to use today, I'm going to use some Purple Power full strength as my degreaser, and then I went to my local Napa store, picked up the Radiator Genie. Got a pump up sprayer to put my Purple Power on, and then there's my new belt. Find this Continental. It is a 3-year warranted heavy duty belt, so I think it'll be a good one. So the first thing I'm gonna do is get this shield off here, and you can see the holes. I went ahead and popped several of these. They're a little rivet. They pop up on the top and then they slide out. You're gonna have a couple in the back there. There. And slip screwdriver into that, and you got it. Now to pull this off, looks like it tucks up under the fender there a little bit. There's that. Get this slammed up. Step up here. And we're gonna set that aside. Next, we're gonna get the rest of this air induction system out of the way. So that's 10 millimeter, guys, by the way. I'm going to go ahead and there's 4 bolts holding this shroud up, 2 in the top, 2 in the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and take those off and get this shroud where I can push it forward a little bit. Got 2 bolts on this upper shroud, and they are 13 millimeter. And, try to get this belt spun off of here before I start spraying it on this radiator. Oh, I mean, it is tight. And off comes the belt. This off that idler. so I got that belt just about there. And I tried to go over the alternator, but it's such a small pulley that, man, I couldn't get it to break and go over it. So that, I got this swinging around here. So I got it on down there on power steering. Everywhere except right here on the fan. And I think I can slip that right up on there. So let me hit it one more time here. There we go. That's all right. Let's leave that right there. I got like there. Go back to now you stop. All right, so I'm working on taking off this bottom piece right underneath my grill, and there's like 5 or 6 bolts. You can see that notch right up in there. There's a bolt there, here, and way over there, and then a couple others. So I'm gonna start zipping those out, and then as well as a couple back up underneath more to the outside. So let's see how it goes here. That one's loose. All right, these aren't super tight. I can just almost turn them a little bit with just my hand and extension, kind of like a screwdriver. That plastic is slotted in there, so I don't even know that those nuts need to come clear off of there. So I'm going to try to just loosen them up and see if it'll slide right off of those studs up in there. All right, so I've slid just a little further up under the truck, and these are on the outside. Actually kind of just in front of the tire, outside part of the grill. So it's just the same setup, 10 millimeter long extensions. So let me see if I can get on that. One thing that's really helping on this for me is that I got about a 6-inch flex extension up there on that 10 millimeter. That kind of lets that work its way around and get in at them little bit of an odd angles. And again, these are not super tight, they're just snugged down good. I can actually turn that extension just like a screwdriver, and I'm going to try and hope I just have to just loosen them. I think so, to get those to come out. So let's do the other side. All right, so, oh yeah. So I was right on that. We're going to set this aside. So on those nuts that I just did, you don't have to take them completely off. If you just loosen them, these are all slotted, and it'll just slide right off of there. All right, we're going to take this top piece off of this, above this grill off, so we can get it out. Several bolts down through here, again 10 millimeters, and then a couple of the little pop-up tabs. So here we go. That's good. Right here, one pop up. You pull at the top, and there, and there. All right, there we go. And that. So let's see. And there's our top piece. Okay, so we're down to the bolts for the grill. We got a row across the top here, again 10 millimeters. Yep. So those were in there. Short one goes to the outside. The 2 longer ones were on the inners. And same way, short one. All right, so we're ready to pop this out. I wanted to show you on the outside, upper part of this grill. Those two outer tabs kind of fit down over a little ring there. So you want to lift them up and the grill will almost drop right out of there. I don't believe it will quite. There it is. All right, so we're just going to tilt it back a little bit and it should just lift right off. And there's your grill out. All right, so we're down to this one last bracket here where these kind of cold air louvers are that shut down to help your engine warm up when it needs to and then opens up. And looks like there's a handful of, they're a T30 bit. So we're going to zip that off. Going to have a handful of these pop-offs here holding that wire. So when you get that popped loose, you want to drop it down easy. Here's your plug for the actuator that works these. So we need to pop it off. And we can set this aside. It looks like that's a pop up and out right there. All right. And lever's off. Okay, there we go. I've got it down about as far as I'm going to take it to clean this thing out. So we're going to go ahead and try to get this inner shroud completely out of here. I was just going to show you there's a couple, 3 clips down here that you'll have to deal with if you're going down that road. That's one of them on this line here. It trips back there that just pops off. And then there's one more here holding this wire harness, and I think it's just one of those that pops in there and you just got to pop it out. So one thing I'm going to show you on this, there's a tab on each side down lower on this inner shroud, and you have to kind of push that in and lift that up, and it pops right up out of there. And again, there's one on each side. So once I get this other tab loose, it's just a matter of that right there. I don't want a lot of water getting into places it doesn't need to be, so we're just gonna throw a little of this blue painter's tape over this right quick to keep any back spray from getting in my air system. So what I'm going to do, I've got that all off, got that shroud loose where I can blow this out. So this is the Radiator Genie. I picked mine up at the local Napa store here in the town that I go to. And I can tell you I've played with it some. Basically it comes with an air chuck, wand, and then a water wand. They look identical other than the fact that that has an air chuck in it. This one threads up. It has an adjuster up here. You turn it one way for more power. So right now, that's low power to the right. You can kind of see what it's doing there. And then you crank it on over to the left, counterclockwise, and you get a pretty good blast. It's got some power when it comes out of there. What I do is spray all the rough off of this, the heavy. Then I'm gonna hose it down with some of that purple power, let it set for a little bit, and then come back and clean it again. So I just wanted to show you real quick, working in front of this fan on that radiator right there, and you got about an inch of clearance. That's putting water right through both of those, clear to the outside, blowing it all out the direction it came in from. So I can't imagine that this isn't really getting that nice and clean. So as you can see, this thing just is almost like it's the perfect size to fit in there. You really want to be careful because, I mean, it just barely clears right between these two. But it's kind of allowing me to get that extra shot on that front one there. So I think I've got all the heavy blown out of that. So we're going to let it set and drip out just a second. Then I'm going to come back at it with some purple power. All right. Work around. I already see a lot of that black coming off of there. Do just a little bit. There we go. A little bit open stream. See everything coming out. That's what I'm trying to show them, how that radiator B really puts it through there. Lots of that kind of stuff coming out of there. All right, so I'm ready to button this thing back up, get it back together and running. Clip on there. sure these all get back in the holes where they belong there. I can hopefully use those at this time. Get them. Get this grill back up in place. And then just don't forget up here, I mean, you can't hardly help it. They pop in there and there. On these outer ones, you're gonna have 3 bolts. These are your longest ones on this grill. And the shortest goes to the outside of those 2 holes, and then you got 2 long bolts. And you can tell they kind of slide up in there a ways before they catch thread. So we're gonna get everything started up here, and then we'll zip it all back in. So we're ready to put this top piece back on. So you're gonna wanna kinda just lay it up here fairly flat. It just has to be just, all right. And once you get it started, this little point out here, there's a little square slot in there that it guides right into. Same way on the other side. Boom, and you got it. So we're going to pop this lower piece back in. So these all have these kind of guides to get you going. And this is the one, remember, it had the nuts on it instead of bolts. And I just backed them off. I didn't take them clear out because I didn't want to have to try to thread them up later. And this is going to be work underneath the truck to get to these. But and again, we're back over here on the passenger side now. Let's see if I can catch this one right up there. Just finishing up this round fan shroud. So don't want to forget to put these little clips back on this line here. There it is, right there is one of them. This one just clicks over. And this one here just clicked right to that, and it's just to keep this line from sliding around, getting in the way of everything. I think that was all there was to that. And I've got 2 bolts here holding this main shroud, and they're a 13 millimeter. So we'll zip those down. All right, there, now we're ready for the top plate. These kind of have a little guide right there that will line you right up when you put this piece back on. Right there. So this is where we have all these little pop-up clips. So you stick them in, pop them down. And, all the way across. Check this fan, and it's clearing, nothing hitting it. All right. One last thing, almost forgot. Our little chrome pieces here. There's one. guys what I've been seeing out of this truck. I just came back from a run out to Washington State and went across 94 and 90. Pulled several mountain passes with a trailer on, and this truck always before would run 185 to 192 on the coolant temperature and the oil temperature pretty much all last summer. And I was seeing on this trip, you know, it would run upper 190s to low 200s and stay up there longer. It would come down on a flat, or once the load was off, you know, once you topped over Mountain Pass and headed back down. But it was definitely coming down slower, holding up there in those higher temperatures. And I don't think by any means it was too hot from everything I've learned. I've talked to the mechanic and the dealer, and they tell me that the high fan doesn't even kick on this until about 220. So we were in good shape. I'll let you guys know how it went when I hook up another load. Again, if you got some value out of this, hit a like, hit a subscribe, check out my other video. I hope it helps somebody. Thanks a lot, guys.